ready to begin?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So, what have we been talking about the past week?
Inverse operations. Math.
Inverse operations, math, I would hope so.
Science.
Signs, what kind of signs are these?
Greater than, equal to,
Them greater than or equal to. What else? What were you saying? You've been reading?
Oh, I got it.
You've been reading and writing. All right, I'm really glad that you said that. Marcus, I'll come back to you.
I've been talking smart.
You've been talking? We are going to be reading and writing today. So we're going to do something called a talk, read, talk, write. 4 verbs.
Ooh.
Yes?
Yes.
It's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to talk today. We're going to read today. We're going to talk again today. And then we're going to write. Does anybody have any questions?
Manny.
Yes, Manny.
Everything talk first.
Well, does it come first, sir? Yes, sir. Then we're going to do that first. Yes, Cameron.
I'm going on bus today.
We are going to go on a bus today. David.
Are you like for real?
Hey, are you watching Magic School Bus?
We're not going to watch Magic School Bus because guess what?
What?
You're in the Magic School Bus.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
I thought Miss Frizzle's was like not a math.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up. Today we're talking about something that you've actually learned in math before. Yes, sir.
Have you found the lizard?
I did not find my lizard.
You can have Olaf.
Lizzie is missing. I'm really sad. But we're gonna go ahead and get started because we are short on time. Okay?
How short?
Now,
Oh my.
the first thing that we're gonna do today is talk. Right? So I'm gonna give you 5 minutes to do this. Right? I want you to look at this comic, look at this picture, and I want you to think about maybe something you think about it, something that you wonder, that you notice, something it reminds you of. And then I want you to turn to your table group, and I want you to talk about that. I've put stems up here in case you need sentence stems to help you get started. Okay? And then we are going to come back, whole group, and discuss what you've talked about. If you can't read it, homegirl that's walking away with the purse
Oh, that's a girl?
is saying,
Oh,
nothing you do affects me. I'm independent.
Oh, just like saying I'm an independent woman. I don't even.
Right. She's an independent woman. She doesn't need a man. And then you have this gentleman on the recliner that says, well, some things you do affect me.
Ooh.
And underneath him says dependent variable. And underneath her says independent variable. So I want you to turn to your table group. So the 3 of you make one group. The 3 of you are one group. The 3 of you. And then the table's in the back. And I want you to turn and discuss things you wonder, things you notice, or that you can relate to this. How long did I say I was giving you, boys and girls? 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Am I listening?
I know that things are breaking. I think they're breaking it up.
So we're not in this one right here. So this is one bigger. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. It says some things that you do affect you. There are 2 different things. That's like
This reminds
nothing
me
you
of
do affects you.
whenever
I'm in this.
I like whenever my dad was there. Yeah, I will give you.
Think about things or something you do affect someone else. Okay, so what would your table like using this steps? That was not the instruction, Marcus. What was the instruction? And are there some more?
It reminds me of
It's like the same thing.
Talk to me, talk to your group.
Miss Hardick.
I'm thinking.
What we noticed is that the guy.
Can I come back to you in a second?
He's buff.
Someone.
No, that's not.
This reminds me whenever they're like breaking. That reminds
They
we didn't. I didn't get to share.
Yes, I did.
You have about 1.5 minutes left to discuss with your group, boys and girls.
9.5.
It was in there.
Thanks.
That. So this is reality, and that's me. I'm saying I don't need you.
Alright, I am hearing the conversations die down to a close. With your fingers, show me how many minutes that you still need. 1 or 2. Or 0. 0, 0, 2. 0. Are we ready to share, boys and girls?
Yes.
I'll give you 1 more minute. So Marcus, you asked for 1 more minute, but I'm not hearing you and your group discuss, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. Right.
I want to go.
I'm on the ground.
My expectation right now is that we're quiet because we're about to share what we discussed. Maya, will you share with the class what your group discussed using one of the sentence stems? Well, Maya is discussing with us what she talked about. What should we be doing?
Listening.
Listening. Very good. Now, Maya, what did your group discuss?
So we said this reminds us of like, and like.
I haven't said a word.
Yes, you did. We were saying that that's like us.
Lewis, I asked Maya to share.
You were saying that was us, or like some of our parents like separating or something. Because they're saying we're independent. And
Okay.
it is like, but you need.
So you can relate to that. You've heard that before.
Yeah, sometimes.
But like, mine was like sad. Cause like I was so little, right? And then like, out of nowhere, all I heard was a boom, and I was like, ah! And then it was a hole in the wall, and I was like, ah! But like, yeah, that's sad.
That is sad.
Okay.
Right. Jay, will you share with the class what you and Gavin discussed using one of the stems? You noticed that this comic had something to do with math. Very good. Very good. I wonder what that could be. All right, we're going to get about 2 more people. Why? Christopher, what did your group discuss?
Oh, they said that
You said that they divorced? Oh, Jorge said that they were divorcing? Why?
Because Marcus independent. She doesn't need no more people, and he needs her for stuff.
Okay, so then could you make maybe a conclusion about what independent and dependent means from this?
That he depends on her, and she doesn't need him.
Right. So if she went somewhere, he would follow. Yeah? Okay. Very good. Very good. I did say 1 more. You were right. Maddie, what did your group discuss? Stop me. Use one of the stems and share what yourself or any of your group members said about the comment. No, we don't decide, I don't know. What do you notice or what do you wonder about this? She's leaving. You notice that she's leaving. Very good.
I wonder if they ever were married.
You wonder?
I wonder why she thinks about it.
All right, guys. So what did we just do together?
We discussed.
We discussed. We talked. So now we're gonna read. Now, what we're gonna read. How many of you know what a skit is?
I've heard of it. A skit is like a little short.
It's like a short film or a short play. Now, so we have a short play that we're going to be reading through. Some of us, I'm very confused why there are people talking while I am giving my instructions. Don't apologize if you're going to continue the behavior. Just don't do it, okay? Some of you have specific lines. Some of us are going to read the lines with class. So if it says class, and that means all of us, how many of us in this classroom are going to read it? All of us. What part am I reading?
Well, Camilla's not here.
Camilla is not here. Who would like to volunteer to read for her? Marcus, you may. Does anyone need an extra page? Voices are off. Eyes are on me. And our ears are open. Guys, for this to work, there's a lot of really good information that we need in here. We read along. If you see your name, that's your line. If you see class, that's also your line. Okay? Anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am. Then you read for class. If you're not specifically named, you still read for class. Yes, Lewis? No, sir, you may not. All right. Hey, guys. We're going to go on an adventure today. Are y'all ready to have some fun?
Yeah.
Awesome. Today we're going to learn about independent and dependent variables. Does anyone know what those are?
This one called boy or girl?
This one is for Oscar, sweetheart.
I think we have talked about. The theme in our science class before.
Very good. You have talked about them in science before. You use independent and dependent variables in science when you do an experiment.
Oh, you're right, Miss Fraser. I remember.
Yeah,
we remember too.
Good. I am so glad you all have heard of these words before. Is everybody ready to get on the bus and go?
Yes, let's go.
All right, kids, make sure to put on your seatbelts. Let's go! Chug, 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 chug. As we travel down the highway, let's talk about some things that are changing as we go. Our time is passing, the distance that we're traveling is increasing, and the gas that we have left in the bus is decreasing. All of these things are called variables because they can change.
Cool. So is my height a variable too? Because as I get older, I get taller.
Yes, Cameron, you're right. So now that we know what a variable is, we're going to learn about independent and dependent variables. Let's talk about the variables of gas we have left in our gas tank and the distance that we have traveled. What do we know about these things? Marcus.
I travel with my family a lot, so I know that the longer we are driving, the less gas we are going to have.
Daily.
Class, do we agree with Dalen and Marcus about how gas and our distance traveled are related?
Yes, we do.
Very good, you all are correct. How far we can travel depends on how much gas that we have left in our tank. In this situation, how far we can travel would be our dependent variable. And the gas that we have in our tank would be the independent variable.
Ew.
No, I get it. Independent variable is what is in control of the dependent variable. Is what depends on the independent variable.
Correct, Manny. Very good job. The independent variable is kind of like the line leader, and it determines where everyone goes. Which where everyone else, which we call the dependent variables, will go.
So in school, our grades will be dependent on how much study we have.
Right, yes ma'am.
So during the time we study, it takes me in the grade we can.
Yes, exactly correct, Morgan. Great job. Does anyone have any questions?
No.
All right. Well, so then we're going to turn around and head back to the school. Seatbelts on. Let's go.
Oh my god, that sounds like politics, right?
All right. All right, guys. So we talked. What did we just do?
We
We read and we acted, right?
did a play.
Some of us were a little bit better actors than others. Just saying. But you know, whatever.
All
right.
Good.
Now, I want us to kind of think about situations where we're independent variables, where we're in control. And then maybe situations where you're the dependent variable, so you kind of have to follow where someone else leads. All right? So I want you to turn and talk with your table group about these kinds of situations. Using the stems, a situation where I'm the independent variable is, and then a situation where I am the dependent variable is. You are going to have 5 minutes to discuss this, and I want everyone to give an example of each. Does anyone have a question about my expectations?
No.
All right, 5 minutes and now.
Wait, independent. I said 2. Yours 2.
That's like me and my mom going to a store.
A situation where I am, or the independent is when I have to. A situation where I am the
I can't pronounce
Stand up. Is when.
What should we be doing right now? Talking and talking about what? Talking about variables.
A situation where a dependent variable.
It's not me. It's not her.
To me, that's weird.
A situation where
I don't hear it.
a situation where I
Give me it.
Has everyone shared 2 situations? When are you in control? When are you independent and in control? And then when are you depend on something else?
It is harder.
Oh, I depend on that. I don't need
Okay, boys and girls, you have 1 minute remaining to finish up your conversations before we come back together, whole group.
We finished. Oh, is there a pin in here?
Can you watch straight?
Oh, I thought it was like a thing.
I can break. What?
It's like
So if you have already identified 2 examples for each person, try to find more.
y'all, Nate, it's your turn. We already done 4.
A situation where I am
like you're supposed to.
is what you know,
I never. Oh, I have a question. You listen to
This is like a chapter I showed him how.
Just say
so
it.
she's like,
Oh, she said.
is there like a robot?
Oh my god. Exactly.
A situation where I'm independent.
Happy? I don't know.
Are y'all happy?
No, I didn't.
So let's show your idea.
We have 30 seconds.
Let down.
A situation where I
Not yet.
Don't tell me. Say it to look at us and say
Right, if I can have conversations come to a close in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Voices are off and eyes should be on me. If you are wearing shoes with laces, I want you to silently stand up. If you are wearing shoes with laces, I want you to silently stand up. If you are wearing shoes with laces, I want you to stand up. If your shoes are one solid color, I want you to stay standing. Everyone else sit back down.
What this piece of be considered one solid color? No, it's not so black.
Mine is red and blue.
Wait, how does that mean?
That's just
One color.
Does it count? Wait,
Right? Standing. Alright.
I need to go pee.
Lewis, that is not appropriate to shout out in class.
no.
You may go very quickly, but you better be back in a minute and a half.
Can I go out?
Jorge, what did your group discuss using one of these stems?
We said that whenever you're dependent is what you depend that whenever I'm dependent on candy because when you eat candy you're dependent on the piñata and the stick to break it.
So how much candy you get depends on how much you break the piñata? Okay. I like that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. What about a situation when your group was independent, Leah? When your group was in control. So right now the situation, let's talk about it. Leah does not remember what her group discussed. Maya does. So Leah,
a nice friend.
Well, you should have paid attention.
hey ladies,
Drama.
you are, Marcus, I'm very tired of you yelling out. Please keep your comments in your head. Thank you, sir. Leah, you are depending on Maya right now, correct?
Yes, you are.
To help you get the right answer. Or not even the right answer, but to share what you talked about. So in this case, since you're depending on her, would you be the dependent variable or the independent variable? You'd be the dependent one. You're the dependent variable. And who's the independent variable here? Her. Because she's in control, and where she leads, she's pulling you around. Yes? Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
When she's in control.
Daylin. Leah, you may sit down. Daylin, what's something your group talked about? Or maybe what's an example of a situation where you're independent? You don't know a situation that you have control over? Writing?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Can you explain that a little bit more?
Like in class, like my teacher, she can tell me, she tells me to do something, but like I can have a choice if I should do it.
Okay. So I was thinking more along the lines of if you get to write about something, right, and it's a free write,
Oh yeah, that too.
right? Whatever you write depends on what you want to write, yes? So in that case, you're in control. How many of us are car writers right here in this school? Car writers for the school.
Sometimes.
Sometimes? So the time that you get to school, that depends on what?
The bus driver.
The driver.
The driver, right? So then if you're relying on someone else to get you to school, Are you the independent or the dependent variable?
Independent.
You're the dependent because you depend on something else. And in that case, if you're a car rider and you're depending on someone else's transportation, who's the independent variable there?
My car.
Your mom,
My dad.
your dad,
Parents.
or big sister?
Because Mr. Saturday, like, he drives slow.
He does slow. Okay, so maybe what time you get to school depends on how fast he drives.
Guys.
Absolutely. All right, boys and girls, Marcus, unlock the door real quick. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit of something. Everyone should have string.
Lewis took it with him.
Oh, I have it in my hand.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Not every single person will have strings, but everyone should. If you have a group around you, it should be one for every 2 people. So if you have a piece of string, you have exactly 15 seconds to find a partner and silently, with a bubble in it, find some spot in the room.
Hey, do you have string? No, you don't.
Do what?
Oh, that's just
Lewis.
who's gonna drive
What do you-
She's recording us. She's recording.
This is my partner, guys.
I don't have
Wait, what?
David, I need you to get over. Jorge, where are you going? Shut the door. Find someone with a string.
back here. Hey, no, don't fuck.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Now, what we're going to do, David and I are going to model what you're going to do, okay? David, I need you to hold the string. We're both holding the string, right? If I'm pulling him, who am I? Am I independent or dependent?
You're independent.
I'm the independent variable. What's he?
A dependent.
The dependent. Okay, now what happens if we switch and now he's pulling me?
He's the independent.
He is the independent, and who am I?
The dependent.
Dependent. So where I go depends on where he takes me, right?
Yes.
So I'm gonna give you about 2 minutes. Take turns being the independent and dependent with your partner. And I want you to talk about this while you're doing it. So if Michael's pulling it, he's gonna say, I'm the independent. I'm in charge. I'm the independent. I'm in charge.
Oh, no.
Right, switch.
I'm her dog. I'm her dog. Come on up,
You're taking to the wall. Actually, we're going to Kroger. You're like, eat Kroger. Same. No, you're going to drive back home.
Why is this a game? Oh my gosh. 10, 9, 8,
I'm the
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Voices are off. We're stopping our motion. I need you to silently return back to your seat.
I just got
I need everybody seated. I need heads up. All right. Do we kind of get the gist now of what an independent variable and a dependent variable is? Who's the one in control?
The person independent.
The independent. How many of you know that? Oh, this is gonna age me, but it's a song, and it's like I-N-D-E. No,
Oh, I know.
You can sing it. I'll give you a dollar to sing it.
Miss,
I don't think you're dollar.
Fire song.
Miss, I know that song.
Oh,
she's
Yeah, she got it. Yes. So independent's like on their own. Dependent means I rely on someone else, right? Now, Marcus, for the last time, sweetheart, I am very tired of your behavior right now. I need you to remain seated and stay on task with what we're doing. Do you understand? I understand you're being videoed. This isn't for you, this is for me.
Oh.
This is for me to see how it's going.
Really?
Which means, do you think I need y'all waving at the camera?
Yes. No.
Wait,
No.
there's a camera?
Do you think it's a waste of your time and my time that I'm even having to address this right now?
Yes.
Yes. So get it out of your loosey-goosies. Can we move on?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what do we have right here? Who can, actually, hold on. Alyssa, what is this? What's happening here? Say that one more time. It's a graph. It's a graph or a chart, okay. Gavin, and what's going on in that table?
The chores,
I don't want anything about variables yet. Just what's happening. What do you see? What do you observe?
so I'm just doing chores and eating my
Great. Someone's doing some chores. Someone's getting some money for it. All right. Now, in every single case, when you have variables, you have an independent and you have a dependent. Something depends on the independent. I want you to turn and talk with your table. I want you to turn and talk with your table about out of these two variables, which one your independent and which one your dependent variable is and why. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. And when we come back whole group, we're going to share. I need heads up those. Does anyone have any questions about what we're doing? All right, go.
Okay, since no one likes to turn around, so
I'm not seeing very healthy communication going on right now. So you need to start.
So it's saying, oh, look, now.
You don't want my notes.
Okay, so D. Like your phone. Dependent.
Do you know what a D is, Michael? Yeah. I'm marking this out up real bad.
Because
No E here. Or participation.
the chores and that's not for
Because you're doing the chore.
I know.
Yeah, so why are we You're taking out the trash in the chore. Clear it. I'm losing circulation. Why would you?
Okay, so it's like you don't understand. One is independent, one is
That's not
Okay, so D.
No, it's learn to work with a variety.
he's doing chores. So if he
I don't think I like to
y'all relying on us.
talk about friendship.
I see you now.
Yes.
I think we can do that. Or do we need to go see a counselor after school and talk about it? I think just keep it any work done.
Should have told me that.
So what do I need you to do?
No.
I know. What you just asked me to tell.
Oh yeah. I did say that.
Oscar, I figured you talk all the time where she's talking
that
about.
would be a point, and then she said,
Yeah. Yes.
Why would your mind be?
1 more minute, boys and girls.
So, oh, Isaiah's home.
I already figured it
No, he's like
Ah, my way. You want some macaroni
so
and
he's
cheese?
independent.
Yes.
I have
We're not tossing up strings. We're not putting on the string. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Kane, what did your group discuss?
D is the dependent variable and C is the independent.
So you said that the number of dollars earned is the dependent and number of chores completed is the independent. Cameron's group, do you agree with Kane's group?
Oh,
Yes.
I agree.
You agree? And why do you agree? What did your group discuss about this?
Just because that since the D side, it's like depending on the independent variable. Something like that.
Yeah, we said that the amount of money depends on the amount of chores.
Yeah, that.
The amount of money that you make depends on the number of chores?
Yes.
Right. So then, Jay, in this case, who's in charge? Who's in control?
Dependent.
C, and what does C represent?
The chores.
I am talking to Jay right now. The number of chores you make. Very good. Very good. Did any other group, by show of hands, notice a pattern?
Yes.
Notice a pattern in this table. Notice a pattern in this table. Alyssa, what pattern did you notice?
D is getting higher each time they do a short for whatever.
D is increasing? Okay. So are we okay if I write on this real quick?
Yes.
So we said that this was independent. And then this was dependent. And you said that this is increasing. I would really hope that the amount of money I make increases the more chores I do. Because if it didn't, system would be broken. That's frustrating, right?
Yes.
If you do 20 chores, I'm only paying you $1.
Oh, that's sad.
What else do you notice, Leah?
That the number of chores is adding with itself.
It's adding itself. So you're adding 1 here, you're adding 2 here, 3 here, 4 here. Good. What other kind of numerical pattern might that be? If you're doubling yourself.
Times 2.
Oh. So could we say it's times 2 every time?
Yes.
Yes.
Which is the same exact pattern that you noticed. We're just saying the same one on every row. By show of hands, how many of us saw that number? Saw those patterns with the
Yes, I
numbers?
was gonna say
As
that.
soon as I looked at it.
As soon as you just knew. You just knew.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Now, we've talked, we've read, we've talked. Now we're going to write. Manny, stop.
I need a pencil.
You're gonna write. So I'm going to give you. Manny, is there a reason why you're consistently moving around and you can't stay still? Okay. I'm gonna give you 2 index cards. 1 for the first activity, 2 for the second, okay? Questions on that?
No.
Great. The first one that I want you to do is you're gonna fill in this table. So if the independent quality or quantity is the number of hours a person works, what might depend on that? Or, okay, so we can do the money that you make, right? So the money you make. And so now over here we were given a dependent, so you want to find an independent. And then you have another independent, so finding a matching dependent and so on. That's on one index card. On the second index card, I want you to write about independent and dependent variables with 3 sentences. 3 complete sentences. Both index cards need your name on them. I need both of these before you leave. Guys, when we're writing, should we be talking?
No. What time is it?
354, by the way.
If you can't see the board, you can move up closer for the table.
So I can sit here. Please don't. Please don't. Nobody wants to. Nobody wants.
Again, my expectation for your noise level right now is a level 0. Manny, No, we are not, sweetheart. It is right.
Yeah.
You need to.
You're right.
Everyone should have their 2 index cards. Everyone knows what they're doing. Yes, guys, I want you to like draw this entire table
On one?
on one.
And then whenever
And then on the second card, you're doing this card.
What? I didn't hear
So
you.
first index card.
I don't get it.
All right. Voices should be off. We're writing.
I don't get the first one.
You want me
Do
to
your
write
best.
that and put that in a tricky word?
And then I got the
Box thing on your post-it map. See, forgot.
Should the graph take up like the whole end?
Would y'all rather do this part together and then do the writing on your own?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, so let's look at this. This dependent quantity is how far the car can travel before it runs out of gas. That's my dependent variable. What could an independent variable of that be?
oh
What controls
the
how far the car can travel before it runs out of gas?
How much gas you put in it?
How much gas you have. Very good.
Wait.
The amount of gas in the tank. Very good.
Wait, I'm confused.
So we gotta write all those words.
No, guys, we're doing this one together.
Oh,
You're gonna do this part now.
I just basically explained.
So if the number of DVDs purchased is my independent variable, the total what? Good. The total cost depends on that. Are you starting to see the relationship between the independent and dependent variables?
Sure. Yes.
And lastly, the total number of wheels on the cars in the parking lot would depend on what?
Wait, the wheels on
The number of wheels, the total number of wheels in a parking lot depends on what?
The size of the car.
Not the size, maybe the size of the car, like if it's a motorcycle or something else.
Oh,
How you put
the
them on?
wheels up.
The wheels in the bar?
Mm-mm. You're thinking too technical. If I go into a parking lot and I start counting wheels, how many wheels I count depends on what?
Cars.
lines.
Not lines, how many
Cars.
there are.
Oh.
Said that. Ah. I get it now.
How many cars there are. So I want you to write about independent and dependent variables in 3 sentences. Using these sentence stems, make sure your name is on one side.
Oh, so we didn't have to write that.
I wrote it.
Okay, thank you, Marcus.